from the weather. And as we get ready to continue this season, it's a 6-game season. The Ole Miss is going to be the next game on our schedule. Kind of a rubber match game. We played them early in the year, and we're able to outlast them in that particular game. Went up early in the game, and true to form, any time Ole Miss and Arkansas play, those games are going to be intense. They're going to go down to the wire. So going over there, I'm going to play against a team that's going to be charged up. I'm sure ready to play us, and we'll be ready to play them. We played, I don't know how long it's been, but I think we're a different team at this point in time, from a mindset, from a mental standpoint, and I think they are too. So, like I say, it's February, and each game continues to get magnified. So it's a big game for us, and an opportunity to go on the road and play well.
Hey, Mike, there are several reports out there today that Andy Kennedy is going to step down at the end of the season. Just wonder what your reaction to that is, and just kind of what have you thought about Andy's tenure?
Well, I don't know the rumors or whatever it is true, whatever's going to take place, but obviously Andy's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine. He played at UAB, so obviously I know him from there, and as a player playing there, and been in the coaching ranks. I mean, he's an assistant as I was growing up in the business too. He's done a fantastic job there. I mean, when you look at what his tenure has been there, he was at Cincinnati, and then he went to Ole Miss, where he's from, Mississippi. So, great guy. He's done a tremendous job. I have nothing but admiration for him. And if it is true, then we obviously wish him the best. He'll be, if he's not coaching Ole Miss, he'll be coaching somewhere.
Is Adriel Bailey, how's his health? Kind of whose turn is it to start at that one forward spot?
Well, he hadn't practiced. Adriel hadn't practiced yet, so we'll see today if he will. Yesterday he was still feeling a little puny, and so it's going to be up to guys such as Dustin Thomas, and you got Gabe Musaboyne, and then of course you got Orlando Cook. So we have somebody to put in those places, and who knows? We may go small. I don't know. Ole Miss is a team that plays with a lot of times with 4 guards, so that could be another scenario. So we'll see. It'll be game time decision.
Hey, Mike, it's no secret that Jalen and Darryl have been scoring real well, but they're actually in conference games only. They're the top 2 scorers in the league in league games. Just were you aware of that, and what do you think about that?
You know they're capable of scoring, and I think they've done pretty good in the scoring department, and my job as a coach is to make sure our team is efficient too. So what they bring to the table, they're able to do it, but we got to make sure the other guys are also doing their part as well. And I think we saw in the last game, we saw a guy like Daniel get involved in terms of the scoring part, and that really helps us offensively as well as defense, because people are keying in on those guys. And going down the stretch, they're really going to key on those guys. So now that means guys like Dustin Thomas, Trey Thompson, Anton Beard, those guys are going to have to be able to score for us as well. But I'm really more anxious about our defense. But those guys are capable of scoring. They're good players, and they've gotten better. They've got comfortable in their roles. And again, but as we move on down, it's going to get a little more difficult because people are going to come after.
When you look at Ole Miss, they've lost 5 in a row. I guess it's the longest losing streak they've had under Andy. Just kind of what are you seeing from them? What do you expect from them with the struggles they're having right now?
I expect a team that's going to compete. One thing about them, they're always going to be physical. They got really good guard play. They can shoot the basketball. The Stevens kid is really good. They're a team that likes to get up and down the floor. They mix and match their defense, and they've been in a lot of close games. I was watching the Missouri game. They were up 11-0 to start off the game, and just going down the stretch. It's a play here and a play there. And you think about the game here, it was a play here and a play there. It just changes the score of the game. So they've been in some games, and of course it's about winning as a habit, and sometimes losing kind of messes with your psyche. But they've done pretty good at home, so I expect them to come out and be a tough ball game for us.
You guys are 1-6 on the road. but you had a couple nice wins here at home. How do you feel the team's mindset and confidence is going back on the road, for this game?
I think we're in a better place than we were maybe, week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Bob. So we'll see. We'll take it on the road, and we got to go out and we got to defend. We got to defend, and we got to defend for 40 minutes. You can't do it for just 20 minutes. We go to A&M, it's a 1-point game at halftime, and all of a sudden we let our guards down, and you look up, it was a 10-point game. Boom, they went on just like that. So we got to maintain that intensity on defense for 40 minutes. And obviously you got to shoot the ball well. We got to get to the free throw line. And we got to take care of the basketball. That's the one thing that concerns me, doing all those things. Valuing the basketball, getting to the free throw line, rebounding the basketball. Those are some things you got to do when you go on the road.
Yes, Terrence Davis got 30 points here, and just what made him effective that game, and what do you all have to do differently to stop him?
Well, first of all, we got to find him in transition, and we got to find him. Offensively, they're going to run a lot of stuff through him, and he does a good job of getting to the basket and making some tough shots. But playing here the other day, I think he probably had about 4 threes, and he was just spotting up. And whether it be a loose ball, and we leave him wide open, and he's making us pay for it. But he's a good basketball player. And I think when we play, obviously, he's an athletic guy that can make some plays. I think that helps him. But we got to do a much better job of keeping him off the glass and finding him in transition. He's important in what they do.
Hey, the 4th spot for you this year, what's it been like making that starting lineup out each game? And what do you expect going forward from the 4th spot?
I expect them to play better. I think now we've got some other guys that are competing for those minutes. Those guys got to be on point. We see Gabe really emerging. I think Gabe is just, we watched the tape of the game, the Vanderbilt game, the last 2 games, and he is grading out so high because of just his basketball IQ. I mean, he's tremendous in help defense. He's taking charge. He's rebounding. He just does a lot of the grunt work, that glue stuff that you're looking for. So I think for me, is certainly one of the bright spots in that department, and what it does is it makes it competitive even with the seniors that we have, Dustin Thomas, Orlando Cook, and of course Adriel being out right now. So, but all I'm looking for is consistency. Guys can go out and give us consistent minutes each and every night, efficient minutes. That's the big key.
Do you think there's going to be an added sense of urgency tomorrow to get a win, considering the last 5 you play the opponents? And what are you telling your guys to focus on tomorrow and not focus on the guys that you wrap up the season with?
There's a sense of urgency every time we go out. I mean, it's a 6-game season. You got 6 seniors, and this is their last go around. Have an opportunity to go out on the road, and they're in the hunt for a lot of things. And so the next game is the biggest game on our schedule. So, and they know they hadn't really played some of their best basketball going on the road. And there's a certain level of toughness, the mental toughness that you got to go on with and go out and play on that road and be able to execute. When adversity comes, that's when you got to execute the most, whether it be on offense or defense. And that's the things that we've been talking about. Let's get better. I think that's the biggest key right now. We got more guys that are ready to play to help us, and that's a big key. Some guys who played all year long. Now we're seeing those guys thrust out there. C.J. Jones, Darius Hall. I mean, to me, now we're becoming that ultimate team that we talk about. We know we have the guys that are doing some of the scoring. I think Anton Beard, I think he's healthier now. He went down that Florida game. He was hurt. He was playing through a lot of pain, and still is for the most part, but I think he's getting a little more healthier. Trey Thompson. Again, those are the guys that we talk about that have got to be, I think, the core guys that help showcase that sense of urgency that we talk about going down the stretch.
Mike, assuming these reports about Andy are true, how do you think his team will respond? A lot of times, teams will rally around their coach. Yeah, and what is the latest on Anton's ankle? How's he doing with it?
He's doing okay. Like I say, he's been playing. So I think the beauty of it right now is we got some other guys that are playing well. It's allowing us to give him all those guards, give them breathers where they come out of the game. And I think even as they playing 29, 30 minutes, a different kind of 30 minutes because they're getting breathers, early in the game and even in late in the game. But Ole Miss is, like I said, Ole Miss and Arkansas playing. It's states that touch each other. So obviously, even in recruiting, recruit some of the same kids. So it's going to be a ball game. I know that, and we're looking forward to the opportunity and the challenge. Okay.